welcome back to the city of Los Angeles and the unbelievable studios of LA 36. I'm your host, Steve Calhoun of the Armed and Dangerous podcast. I have two unbelievable guests on my show. These are my brothers from another mother. We go way back, way back. So let me bring them on the show right now. Josh Booty and John David Booty. Hey, welcome to the Armed and Dangerous podcast, brothers.
To wake up and to know I'm going to get to do a show with Steve Calhoun and John Compton and the famous John David Booty all at the same time is unbelievable.
Good deal. Welcome to the show, JD.
Glad to be here. Thank you.
Yeah, good deal. Hey, well, I want to jump just kind of right into it, man. First of all, Josh, how's your summer going?
Awesome, man. I'm doing a lot of traveling, probably too much golf. I've been putting this arthritis pain on my back because I'm swinging so many golf clubs, man, JD, and putting up big numbers, man. I thought my golf game would get a little better, but it's not. Me and JD got to play about a week ago in Southern California, and I live in Florida now, so it was awesome to get over there with him and play a couple rounds of golf with the Booty brothers. But we had a lot of fun. Got to see you out there, which was a lot of fun. But just can't wait for football season, man. That's our favorite time of year. You know how much we love ball. We love ball more than you love ball.
I don't know about that. You might have me beat by a little bit, but I love ball. No. and JD, hey, what's keeping you busy this summer?
Really, it's 3 kids.
There you go.
They're keeping me busy. My daughter, she's in competitive cheer, and that seems to be every day for the most part. And my middle one, Nash, we're getting ready for his football season this year, and as well as my young one playing flag as well.
There you go. That's awesome. Well, hey, I'm not sure not too many people know you guys' background of being two unbelievable quarterbacks from out of the state of Louisiana, from Shreveport, from Evangel Christian. I want to start with you, Josh. You were the first high school quarterback to throw over 11,000 yards, over 125 touchdowns, 126 touchdowns coming out of high school. Those numbers are unbelievable. That's when I saw the numbers, like on USA Today, just reading the newspaper back then, I'm like, no, man, this is a typo. This is a typo. You guys are throwing the ball around before anybody was throwing it. Hey, talk to me about, your time at Evangel Christian and the numbers you guys put up in the state championships.
Yeah, we were, this is back in the early 90s. We were a little ahead of our time. Teams now are tossing the ball around in a fast-paced offense, spread formations and no huddles and wristbands. All the different things that you can do now offensively that all that figured out through the years. We were the first to ever do it. And, we broke national records. We have a brother in between us that was a national record-breaking receiver in terms of yardage, receiving touchdowns, catches in a high school career. Abram Booty, who's the father of General Booty, who is our nephew playing at ULM now, quarterback in Louisiana. But we're just very fortunate. My dad was a coach. He was a quarterback coach. He kind of got us ready to play, at the high school level when we were younger. And we just understood the game enough and had an offense that was wide open when in the early 90s, everybody was kind of ground and pound. So no one could prepare for us. And it was a fun kind of brand of football. We see it now every Friday night, every Saturday, every Sunday, the way the Chiefs play, the way BYU played in the 80s with the Detmers and the Steve Youngs and with Norm Chow, and it carried into the 90s and 2000s, I guess with the Houston Cougars and John Jenkins there with the run and shoot. Just we were doing that kind of stuff early on in our careers at the high school level, and we were able to just throw up crazy numbers, and it was just a blessing to be able to play an offense like that. That's a dream come true for a quarterback.
No doubt about it. So, like I just mentioned all the numbers that you threw for 11,000 yards, over 100 touchdowns. John David, you come almost behind him. There was a guy in between you and Josh, Brock Berlin, good friend of the family, you guys' family for sure, good friend of mine through you guys. And you come right in, big shoes to fill. How was that going into your first year of starting as a quarterback after Josh and Brock put up all those crazy numbers?
Yeah, there was definitely a lot of pressure, stepping into those shoes. But it is something I had, really tried to prepare for many years leading up to that moment. And I was blessed to also have my dad as my coach and growing me even as a young kid. We ran the same offense, from fifth grade on all the way through high school. So when I was there, I knew the playbook, as well as the coaches. So for me, it was just a matter of getting myself comfortable, getting used to the game speed and rock and rolling. And fortunately, I was blessed to have much better players around me than Josh did. He put up those numbers running for his life, which is super impressive. Where I had, there were 14 guys I had, in my class that were D1 players.
Okay.
So we were competing on a national level at that point, compared to when Josh was there. But to put up those numbers, running for his life is still amazing to me.
Yeah, definitely. Hey, so I mean, those numbers that you put up, you kind of downplaying it, but you threw for over 8,000 yards, 80-something touchdowns. I mean, those numbers, just you guys alone, I mean, that's well over almost 20,000 yards, between two brothers playing at the same high school. That's ridiculous numbers. So going back to Josh, you're parade All-American, USA Today All-American, and you choose baseball, which was like, what? And so you were the 5th pick overall, to the Marlins. Was baseball your first love, or was football your first love? And why'd you choose baseball over football?
Yeah, I grew up. My dad also played a lot of travel softball, and people go softball. Well, in the South, that's all you have to do. There's not much you can do. You can't go to the beach. You can't play beach volleyball. Everybody plays slow pitch softball. So I grew up at the ballpark of all places, and in and around baseball fields. And so I really took a liking to baseball. I was athletic enough to really, I think, take advantage of the sport. To be honest, I was 6'3" and like 210 pounds as a senior in high school. And I'd gotten to play on like the USA team and some fun stuff in the summers leading up to my senior year. And I knew that I was going to be a high draft pick. And it just went back to, Little League and all that, all the, baseball years leading up to my senior year, where I probably did like that more than I did football until my senior year. And we really had an amazing senior year of high school football, and I fell in love with the sport. Of course, Friday Night Lights in the South is amazing. A lot of fans, more pageantry. I signed with LSU. We played 2 sports. I was really looking forward to playing at LSU for the Tigers, and at the time, I had to give that up to go and play with the Marlins when I got drafted high. But I was a baseball player first, probably growing up, even more so than football. And when I got that opportunity, I could not say no to the Marlins in the first round selection.
Yeah, and there's no doubt about it. That would definitely be hard for anybody to make that decision, being a 5th pick overall or go and play college football. But, hey, so JD, one thing, I remember seeing you play on TV, and you were in shotgun at about 9 to 10 yards deep, and I'm like, okay, that's a real shotgun. That's not a sawed-off shotgun. That's a real long barrel 12-gauge shotgun. And you back there, and you chunking the ball all over the place. And I'm just like going, wow. Okay, so you reclassified, okay, and you ended up going to USC. I'm sure you made a lot of people around the state of Louisiana, even in the South, upset with your decision to go to USC. Why'd you make that decision on leaving? Not playing for LSU and the Tigers?
Yeah, a lot of people ask me that. Josh and Abram had just kind of gone through their, a few years at LSU, and I was at every game on Saturdays, following them around, and I was really just kind of looking for a change of pace. That LSU was a phenomenal school. Saban had just kind of gotten there, so they really haven't turned, and gotten really good like they did in the years to come from that. But it was really kind of run first, run heavy type offense. And of course, I wanted to sling it around.
Yes, sir.
And even though SC ran the ball a lot, it was a lot of play action, West Coast type offense with Norm Chow, the coach that Josh mentioned earlier. He used to be at BYU, and
correct. And
Carroll with his NFL experience. And then you come out and visit, see the campus and obviously the weather and everything else that comes, with LA and USC. Like Josh said with baseball, that was hard for me to pass up.
Yeah, definitely. So did you, JD, did you have a baseball background? Did you play baseball growing up? And
I did till about my 8th grade year.
okay,
You know, if I had one regret in sports, it's probably not playing through high school.
okay,
I did love it, but kind of decided to go football only early on.
okay, gotcha. So if USC wasn't on the table for you, JD, who was your second choice?
I was really considering it was down to Miami, Texas, and USC.
Okay,
And there was a kid who actually signed with SC. There was kind of, in the class before me, before I reclassified, who had committed to SC, and then at the last minute backed out and went to Miami. So I said, well, there's an opening at SC, so I'm headed there. And best things ever happened to me.
that's awesome. Good deal. Josh, you get drafted by the Marlins. How long were you in the minors before you got called up? Because I know you actually was on that 97 World Series team.
Yeah, I was in the minor leagues for 4 years, and that's probably JD spent some time with me there, and that's probably why he quit playing baseball in the 8th grade, because he thought how hard the minor leagues was, and those bus rides and all those trips, and me complaining, calling him, going, dude, I don't know if you want a part of this. The minor leagues is a tough life, and I spent pretty much 3 or 4 years for the most part. I got some call ups in between some of that time, but A-ball, AA, AAA, I've done them all, man. I went all the way up the ladder. I got a cup of coffee, a couple seasons in 96 and 97. I was on the World Series team at the end of the year. Bobby Bonilla was hurt in 98. I started opening day for Jim Leland, and I got hurt a month in the season. So I had I had several months there in the big leagues, and then I decided to go back and play some college football. But I did go through the whole system, and it is no joke.
Exactly. Hey, shout out to Jim Leland. Hey, he's a new Hall of Famer in MLB. I just saw that this past weekend, so shout out to him. Okay, so now, JD, you get to SC. Matt Leinart is there. Coach Carroll's there. What was that? Was it an open competition? Did Coach Carroll say, hey, it's going to be an open competition, or did you just kind of had to find your way?
No, it was an open competition there early on. Okay. And, I skipped my senior year of high school, but I had to finish the few classes that I had left to finish in order to graduate that summer.
Okay.
So I really didn't get to SC probably until, July, with about a month to train and get in the playbook before jumping right into training camp. So looking back, I was probably at a real disadvantage.
Okay.
I didn't think so at the time, but when I came in, we were going head to head, and I was actually playing really, really well. And unfortunately got injured about halfway through training camp with my back, and that really kind of set me back. And that's looking at getting that starting job week 1 kind of was over at that point in time. They had to get the guy ready who was going to play against number 1 team in the country, Auburn, on the road.
Okay.
At that point in time, and now the rest is history. Matt went on to do what he did, and had some great teams, and I had to wait my time.
Yeah. Hey, so talk to my fans about JD. Why you reclassified? Like I'd never even heard of it. Like of a high school player actually doing that. What made you do that? And I'm sure it was a family decision. Because I know your family's real tight, and you guys bounce all your ideas and decisions off each other. And so how'd you end up coming to that decision of reclassifying?
Well, it was really, family, like you said. My dad, who was Josh's coach and my coach, kind of was let go from his position as the head coach of the high school team. And that's really what led to me, reclassifying and leaving early, was the fact that he was stepping down, and there were no other, high schools to go to in my area that, had the same type of offense and teammates around me. So it just made the most sense to move on, and I was fortunate enough to do it. And SC had one scholarship left. A guy ended up having the gray shirt and left one open for me, and I took it.
There you go. That's awesome. So Josh, you leave the MLB, you come back to college football. Was LSU your first choice to go to play at LSU, or was there any other schools that made your top 2 or 3 list?
it was definitely my first choice. Us growing up in Louisiana, but our brother Abram was a receiver at LSU, 2 seasons under belt, playing at a pretty high level in a run dominant offense with Jerry DiNardo as a. He had caught 60 balls, I think 65 balls, 120 balls in 2 years. And so I wanted to go to play with my brother at Tiger Stadium. We played a season together in high school. I was a senior instrument. And so that showed you how long I went and played baseball and then came back. When I came back, he was 2 years at college. So I was 23, 24 years old, headed back to LSU. But I had other opportunities: Florida State, Oklahoma, Florida, Spurrier. Teams with Stoops at Oklahoma, Bowden at Florida State were all trying to get me to come, but I really wanted to play with my brother and go back to my home state and play for LSU. That was like a dream for me. Growing up all the way, all the way through sports in high school was to play at LSU, and I got that opportunity. I decided to go back and play, and Jerry DiNardo was the head coach. He lasted about 10 games. Then Saban came in for the second year, but Paul did still not there. But we tried to make chicken salad out of chicken, and it didn't happen. And that came in and changed the landscape, like JD said, and started to build. But I got a chance to play, my home state, which was pretty phenomenal in terms of stadium atmospheres in the league.
Okay, good deal. Hey, so JD, you become the starter at USC. Tell me, like, one of your greatest moments of you being the quarterback at USC.
Oh, man, my greatest moment, I would have to say, are the 2 Rose Bowl victories. By far my most memorable moments that I have there. That was our goal every year was to win the Rose Bowl. That was all we could control, was winning the Pac-10 at that time, but getting to the Rose Bowl game and winning that. And clearly we'd love to play for the national championship. Occasionally it's at the Rose Bowl, but, that was really all we could control outside of the voters and everything else. So to be able to do that, my junior and senior year and leave with those 2 wins were the base of my career.
All right, that's awesome. Good deal. So, Josh, you're playing at LSU. You guys won the SEC. Did you win the SEC when you were there?
No, I wish. We got beat. I wonder who. I think Tennessee won it one year.
Okay.
And who won it? The 2 years I was there? I think Tennessee and maybe Auburn. But
okay.
Alabama was not quite as good as they were because Saban was with us. Not
exactly. Exactly.
Georgia wasn't Georgia at the time. They were in the top 25 and not for radio power like they are now.
I got you. So. You finished your last year, Josh, at LSU. NFL's coming up, NFL draft's coming up. You're one of, maybe 10 players that got been drafted by the MLB, and then okay, you're about to get drafted into the NFL. Talk to us about that process. What was your mindset? Where were you hearing that you were going to go in the NFL draft?
Sure. I had been represented by Jeff Morad and Lee Steinberg out of Southern California, and that's how I met John Conte, who introduced me to you, by the way. Was being out in Southern California, and they told me, listen, if you come out, I was 25 at the time, so I was an older, 2-year starter in college, and I could, back then I could leave early, and I decided to leave early because there's another group of 18-year-old, 19-year-old kids coming, and I was going to be 26 that next year. I'm like, dude, I gotta go try to make it into the NFL. I was all SEC, kind of much like JD. He was all conference, and the year before he left to go to the NFL. So I felt like it was a good time for me to go. I didn't know where I would get drafted. I knew I was athletic enough, I think, to get drafted. I went to the combine. Steinberg and those guys prepared me for it. I did the whole off-season training program in Orange County, much like what you've trained guys that have worked for, that were players under Steinberg and Athletes First and all the groups out there on the West Coast. And so I went through all that stuff and tried to get myself ready. And I thought I was going to be a 3rd or 4th rounder. I ended up falling to the 6th round, which was tough. That was in the 2001 draft where Michael Vick was the number 1 overall pick for some football historians out there. Drew Brees was in that draft. So there are really a couple of good quarterbacks that went before me, but I fell to Seattle in the 6th round, and I showed up to camp, and Matt Hasselbeck was my roommate, and Trent Dilfer was there. He had just won a Super Bowl with Baltimore and was a free agent, and Holmgren brought him in to get Hasselbeck some insurance, and a guy named Brock Heward was there. We had a pretty cool quarterback room, my rookie year in camp in Seattle, and that was much before Pete Carroll was there. He was at SC with JD. It was Mike Holmgren, and he had come from coaching Brett Favre in Green Bay, and took that job for Paul Allen. And it was fun to go to Seattle and be around that group of guys and try to learn as much as possible. I ended up getting traded to Cleveland my rookie year, but I was drafted in the 6th round, and I thought I would have gone earlier. I was hoping Jerry Jones was going to. He went with Quincy Carter, and I'll never forgive him.
Come on, Jerry. Come on. Good deal. Good deal. So JD, you finish your career at USC. You're going through draft prep, just like Josh kind of mentioned. I prepared guys, for the last 15 years for the draft. How was your draft prep experience? Where were you hearing that you would go in the draft? And how was the combine experience, and just the whole the whole run of from graduating or finishing your last bowl game to that draft day?
Yeah, well, for that one particular season, it's like you play 2 seasons in one. It never ends. That rookie year, because the day you're done with your bowl game or whenever that season's over, you start your prep training and combine training. I guess I had been hearing probably 2nd, 3rd, 4th round, similar to Josh. I got hurt in my senior year, so I missed 3 games. I'm not sure if that set me back a little bit or not, but ended up slipping to the 5th round with the Minnesota Vikings. And so, went right in from all of that, right into your rookie season. Had a great QB room with Gus Frerotte and Tavares Jackson. And, really thought I could compete. Not my first year, but, coming into that 2nd year, I'd really have a shot to compete for the job. Little did I know, Brett Favre would be coming in. In like his 22nd season. But I immediately went from thinking, man, I could compete with these guys to, oh, man, I got a long way to go.
Wow.
Being with him and the way he operated, no-look passes. I was just so impressed and realized I had a lot of work to put in.
Got it. Hey, JD, real quick. Hey, how big of a learning curve was it going from SC to the NFL? Was it a big learning curve because you had Pete Carroll, a former NFL coach?
I don't think it was that big of a learning curve. The systems were very similar.
Okay.
Our type of offenses. It was really just I say the speed, but it's everybody's the best of the best. So that with their disguises and that the safeties and linebackers are able to do, and with the hashes, brought in from the college hashes, makes that a little easier and challenging. So, usually in college, you see the free safety or strong safety down. That's really the only side they can blitz from.
Right.
But not that way in the NFL. You'll change your protection one way, and here comes the blitz from the other side. So
Absolutely.
Things like that where I think were the biggest change for me, not so much the offense and terminology.
Okay. And Josh, what about the learning curve going from LSU to Seattle or then Cleveland real quick?
Yeah, I think, on the field, it was an easy transition. It was the verbiage of the West Coast offense that got me in the beginning, because I had come from Jimbo Fisher's pro-style offense where, much like Bruce Arians, it was like 3-digit type stuff, Seminole type stuff like Florida State used to run with Charlie Ward, 2 backs, 3 wides. And then now I'm in a West Coast offense where the terminology and Holmgren and what he had built through the years was just out of this world, like John Gruden style, right? So it was like I would stay up at night, would have a nightmare that I would have to call a play the next day. Hasselbeck, he had been in Holmgren's offense with Favre for 3 years, and he was spitting like crazy. I'm like, dude, this is like Chinese, bro. So it was a little tougher for me to learn, the West Coast terminology, and kept me up at night kind of wondering how the heck I'm going to call for one of these plays that they're going to make me run tomorrow. I was having nightmares. I'm like, can I get a wristband, dude? Because I can't call this play.
There's no doubt about it. I had the opportunity, I guess 2 years ago now, where I had the opportunity to do an internship for the Commanders. And, Coach Scott Turner, Norv Turner's son, was running basically, Norv's offense. And the play calls, I was just like, I'm an intern, I'm the low man on the totem pole. And I got, Sam Howell, who's a rookie, and Cole Kelly, who's a rookie. And they're asking me like, okay, hey, coach, what does this mean? And how do I call it? And I was just like, so I understand those long nights and those nightmares of staying up trying to figure it out. So I could definitely, I feel with. Exactly. Good deal. Hey, I want to get into just talking about family now. I'll start with you, JD. Had a chance to work with your son, Nash. Unbelievable quarterback. Unbelievable. I mean, you think Booty and you think quarterback. So Nash is just the next one to fall in line to play at a high level and to be the next great Booty quarterback. But he's had some challenges growing up. He has muscular dystrophy. I wanted to give you the opportunity to speak on his health situation and how's it coming, and I can tell you right now that has not held him back. But go ahead and speak on that, please.
Yeah, so Nash has muscular dystrophy. Was diagnosed with muscular dystrophy, like you said, when he was about 3 years old. And of course, at that point in time, you're thinking the worst as a parent. They're telling you he may not be walking by the time he's 12 years old.
Wow.
You go to the worst, but luckily, our faith in God and, we're believers and really switched our focus to, being optimistic and, having a good outlook on it. And I'm so glad we have, because he is doing so wonderful, Steve. And I appreciate you taking the time to work with him. But he's a great player, has unbelievable mechanics. Really, I haven't worked with him that much. You've worked with him even more than I have. It's just something he has in him, but he loves the game, loves to study it, follow it, watch it with me. He's 11 now, and if you saw him, you wouldn't know anything was even
absolutely
wrong with him or holding him back, like you mentioned. So we're just we're so blessed as parents, Jill and I, and just so pleased with where he is right now, and thankful to God that he's able to do what he's doing.
There's no doubt about it. I would definitely be at an upcoming game, this coming fall, to watch him do what he does, because, we have put in a little bit of time. So he is a Jedi of the armed and dangerous tree.
That's right. That's right.
So, hey, Josh, you have two twins. One's playing football, one plays baseball. Parker is a new wide receiver at Clemson University. And then you got Peyton, who's playing baseball at Bossier Parish Community College.
Yeah, Bossier Parish.
Bossier. Okay.
Yeah.
Okay. Yeah. So talk a little bit about Parker first, and then you can finish up with Peyton.
Awesome, man. Thanks for asking. Parker is a special kid. Both of them are special. Parker's a special receiver. I think he's second or third all-time leading receiver in our area history, behind actually our brother Abram at Evangel. He was crazy talented, fast, understands how to get open. He played in the U.S. Army All-American game, actually against your squad this year, which was fun for him to be able to get on the field. And he had a good game in that game. I think he had 130 yards receiving. But he's just a gamer. I think he can't play on Sundays if he continues. He's really strong lower half. He can jump up and make plays on 50-50 balls. He's a great blocker downfield. He just understands the game. He can coach the other receivers around him on how to get open and spacing and stuff like that. So I'm excited about what he can do at Clemson for Dabo, and hopefully he'll get on the field this year. Even if it's special teams, he'll be a freshman. He's going to wear number 13, which is a powerful number there. Renfro wore it at Clemson when they had all those great years with Deshaun Watson and Trevor Lawrence. And then his brother Peyton he was a quarterback and decided to go the baseball route because of his size and his skill set. I think it's going to be to play first base, and hopefully he'll get that D1 scholarship in several years. But he went the junior college route to get some at bats because he's been a dual sport athlete, never played summer baseball. He needs to catch up a little bit on at bats. Baseball is kind of like golf. It's so definitive and finicky, and we've got to you've got to have at bats. You know, if you're a hitter, you got to see that 90-mile-an-hour fastball come and those breaking pitches, and understand yourself and discipline and plate discipline and an approach. So I think that's what he's got to do, is just go get a bunch of at bats and have fun with it, junior college level, and see if he takes next.
That's awesome. Now, hey, you know, we got football season, college football, NFL coming soon here in the next month or so. JD, I want to talk to you about USC, no longer in the Pac-10, no longer in the Pac-12, but now they're in the Big Ten. What are your thoughts on them going to that conference? And the second part of that question is, what do you think about the travel? They have to play Penn State or Rutgers or Michigan or Michigan State. Go ahead, your thoughts on that.
Yeah, I'm super excited about them joining that conference, and the travel will be somewhat of an issue, I'm sure, early on. But we used to go play Notre Dame or go back to play Virginia Tech. We'd leave on maybe a Thursday instead of a Friday, so I don't think it's going to be too big of an issue. I think the biggest challenge they're going to face is just the week in, week out talent level. Similar to the SEC, really anybody can beat anybody on a given day. I think that's what they're going to face more, than getting some of these maybe rollover teams they're used to in the past. That's not going to be the case any longer.
Exactly. No doubt about it. All right, Josh, like I said in the beginning, I think I might love ball more than you do, but it's up for debate. It's up for debate.
That's a bold prediction.
Hey, who's going to be your surprise college football team that is going to win it all?
Man, my surprise team would have to be Oregon. Dylan Gabriel got close to our nephew at Oklahoma. My nephew backed him up last year, and he decided to sign a transfer portal deal with the University of Oregon. And I think they've got enough talent with a leader that's going to become, if he stays healthy, the all-time leading passer, Division I college football history. And I think he's a real capable guy to get you to that playoff scenario. They, like SC, go into the Big Ten, so some of these games are going to be tough. I know Ohio State goes to Oregon, which will benefit Oregon having that game at home instead of playing at Ohio State. They're my surprise team. I think Ole Miss could be really, really good. JD and I both played for Lane Kiffin, but he's built an offensive juggernaut in the SEC, and with one injury or two to maybe a Georgia, and he's got great offensive line for the first time play since he's been there. He's always had to kind of get away with some things offensively. Now he's got a stellar offensive line. So I think Ole Miss could be a team that could be reckoned with. I also like A&M and Mike Elko. I think they're another team that is kind of like Ole Miss, could come out of the gate strong, and they got all the players that they would need to make a run. It's just when you got Georgia and Bama and Texas kind of looming at the top, it's tough to think that they could defeat those. Oregon has a little bit easier road to get to the playoffs.
Yeah, no doubt about it. So you say playoffs. Josh, do you like the new playoff format, or is it too many teams? You love it?
It's more ball, man. It's more ball.
It's more ball.
The playoff situation is now another 3 weeks longer. So
yes,
we've got 3 more weeks to enjoy ball, man. I wish football lasted year round. Of course, it wouldn't be as significant if it did, but I love the playoff situation. I think at the end of the year, it's like Georgia last year. I thought they were the best team in football, but they didn't make the playoffs because they lose an ugly game against Alabama.
Yeah.
They were banged up a little bit. That Tyson Bowers was hurt, and then they come back and play Florida State and obliterated it. I think they would have been favored against anybody last year in the playoff. Yeah. Michigan, Alabama, all of them, if they were to play in a neutral site. So this eliminates some of those question marks on teams that might have lost 1 or 2 because of an injury or a certain situation that could have bounced back and won it all. So I love this scenario.
Yeah, definitely. And JD, what do you think about the new playoff format?
Yeah, I agree. I love more ball. I think the only thing with college is that there's a pretty big gap between number 1 and number 12.
Oh my God! Yes.
Talent-wise and skill level. So I think you're going to see some probably big blowouts until it narrows down.
Yeah.
But again, more games, the better for me.
Good deal. Hey, Josh, I know you have an adventure with Bula and you tell, my viewers and my fans about what you got going on with Bula.
Sure. Bula is an app that my youngest brother Jack and I have developed, and we're pretty darn excited about it. We got compliance to do to roll this thing out in 50 states. It's a peer-to-peer gambling app, so you can challenge their way to your friend in a social environment. It's kind of like TikTok and Venmo combined. We're adding the banking components now, so it's going to be a social way for you to bet all your buddies and then have an outcome with with the banking capability. So now on the golf course, or whether you're doing video games or pickleball or whatever you do, bar game, and having fun with the guys, instead of betting dinner and hoping you get it like with me and you do against each other, with Mikey and the group, with Jack, we can actually make our bets online for everybody to see and then held accountable with the banking component. So it's first of its kind. It's a call to action social app with a verdict. We can't wait to share it with everybody.
That's awesome. Hey, I could keep you guys here for another hour, talking about ball and family and your faith. But hey, that brings me to the end of the show. Appreciate you guys being on the show. I'm sure we will cross paths. Josh, I'm going to see you soon because I'm going to be down in Miami watching those Dolphins. JD, I'm definitely going to see you because I need to see Nash a couple more times. We got a couple of things to work on before his season starts. But again, thank you guys taking time out of your day to come on the show.
Thank you, Steve. We love it.
Not a problem.
Awesome. Thanks for all you do, brother.
All right. Appreciate
That's
it.
right.
Good deal.
Thank you.
All right.
Thank you.
Well, good deal. Hey, that brings us to the end of the show. You can find all the content on my YouTube channel at Steve Calhoun, Armed and Dangerous Football, my Instagram, which is Armed Dangerous, my TikTok is Armed and Dangerous Football, and then also Twitter, X, formerly known as Twitter, is just Armed Dangerous QBS. You can find all the content and the rest of this this great interview with these two brothers from another mother. Good deal. See you next week.